Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today on Bones Collector, we're continuing our series where Lori and I are playing our way through our board gaming library. So we're going to play a couple of games, 2 or 3 games each week, and make a video about it and pass it on to you, and I hope you enjoy them. Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector, and today Lori and I just got done playing Naga Raja by Bruno Cathala and Theo Revere. And the art is by Vincent Dutray, and I don't know if that's how you say Theo's name, but as close as I can get. You know, I mean, what can I say? I don't know this guy. Yeah, this is a 2-player only game that came out in 2019. It's dice rolling, it's network and route building, and it's hand management. And the winning condition, of course, is when somebody hits 25 points, whoever's got the most points at that point of the game is going to win. So, yeah, it's a racing game. You're trying to get to 25 points.
And you've got some strange looking dice.
That's the threshold. And let's talk about the game itself. It's a decent box, and the game comes with an insert that holds everything in place. And I bought this game used for I think $25, maybe 20 bucks, I can't remember. 20, and the person I got it from sleeved all the cards and labeled all the places. Okay, see ya. And labeled all the places where everything goes, and that was kind of cool of her to do that. So I appreciated that from her. And I committed her name to mine. And when I see her selling games at conventions, I'm always wanting to look at what she's selling, because I've purchased from her before, and her games are always magnificently taken care of. They're like brand new, and I guess is what I'm trying to say, and so that's pretty cool. We've played this game 4 times. It takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. The player board that you're going to use, and I reset my play area to start, and I left Lori's the way it was when the game ended. So just to, for the purposes of explaining this game. And the player boards are nice and thick that you're using here. These tokens that you have around the board are nice and thick. Cardstock. Is this linen cardstock? I mean, she sleeved all this, and they are linen cards, so that's pretty cool. These are your fate sticks, and they're really just dice. But they call them fate sticks for the purposes of the theme of the game, and that's pretty sweet. And there's different size ones here. They're the brown ones, and green ones, and white ones, and they have different values of pips on the 4 different sides, and then they also have these squiggly lines that are called nagas. And when you roll a naga, you get to play one of the cards out of your hand. This like nice little player aid comes in handy, let me tell you, because you know what's on each side of the fate sticks. So that's pretty cool. This is a scroll, a thick cardboard scroll, and that's the first player token. And that's everything in the game. Now, the secret to this, oh no wait, these are, what are those called?
Amulets?
Oh yeah, these are amulet tokens, and they're just, you know, just the same stock as the other tokens in the game. And you have these tiles you're going to lay on your board. It's all the same thing. Okay, I mentioned this game is dice rolling, and you're going to start out the game by dealing each player 5 cards. And that's going to be the hand you're going to start with. Now you have a choice of what you want to do. You have to play a card during your turn. That's the first thing you have to do. Everybody has to play at least 1 card. You can play more than that, but you have to play at least 1. And the card is going to tell you how many fate sticks you get, and which ones and which colors. So at the top of the card, it has the number of fate sticks and the colors that you're going to take and roll those for that particular turn. Now, if the icons match in the corners, like these 2 icons match on these cards in the upper corners, then I could play both of those if I wanted to. And that's part of the strategy of the game, because you're going to want to do that. The secret to doing well in this game is managing your hand of cards. It's kind of like, reminded me a lot of Isle of Cats. Even though you have a puzzle you're trying to solve in front of you, the secret to doing that well is how well you manage these cards. You have to know what they do, and it took us a few games, didn't it? It took us a few games to understand everything that the strategies of the cards that are in this game.
Well, we just figured out a couple more after we finished the last game. We thought of a couple more we should try. So you want to know, and on the cards in the upper corners, it has arrows on them, and if the arrows are white and pointing down, that means you can take that action. If the arrow's red and pointing up, that means you can take that action against your opponent. So this game's a little bit interactive. If that bothers you, you probably wouldn't like this game. And then also some of the icons have an arrow pointing up and an arrow pointing down, a red arrow pointing up and a white arrow pointing down, and you can take your choice as to which play area you're going to use that effect on. And that's very important to know, because again, that comes in handy. There's a card in here that
lets you place this trap. This trap tile will lay over here by the tiles that you're going to place on your board when you're rolling your fate sticks. Whoever has the most pips on their fate sticks is going to take the tile that's up for grabs, I guess, and this is going to sit over here, and there's a card in here, this card right here, and there's only one of them, and it lets you place this trap tile on your opponent's board. 2-player only game, so, and that can be brutal. That can really hurt you when someone places that on your board, because it messes with your network building on your board, because that's what you're trying to do, is build a network on your board. Yeah, you're trying to turn over these sacred relics, and so you have to have a path from the bottom of your play area, and you can see these 3 at the bottom here. You have to have a path that goes to those relics in order to turn them over, and it also has to go to these tiles that have these amulets on them. That path also has to go to that particular amulet in order to be able to turn that over. So it's all about building that network from the bottom here up to all of these tiles that you want to try and turn over, and these amulets, and getting them turned over, because you got some of the amulets have victory points on them, some of them have draw a card, and the other ones can nullify Naga card or Naga action by another player. So that's pretty, you have to know that stuff when you're playing this. So hand management's everything in this game, and playing this game 1 time or 2 times isn't really going to get it done. There's more here than it's Bruno Cathala, and he has a certain level of complexity that are in his games. And I'm talking about games like Abyss, games like Yamatai, 5 Tribes. There's a little bit going on in them, and so you have to take your time and learn that game. I've known people who have played games once or twice and say, I don't like that game. Well, you didn't give it a chance. I mean, there's a little bit here to digest in order to feel comfortable in the strategy that you're trying to perform when you're playing this game. And it's worth the effort to figure it out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And when you start out the game, you're going to have 5 cards, I told you, and you're going to play one of those. You have to play one every turn. At least. You can play more, but you have to play one every turn. And then you're going to roll your fate sticks that were on your cards because you're trying to win this tile. Now, that's part of the strategy also. You may not want that tile. So you want to be careful, and that's part of it. You want to be careful that you don't take tiles that are extremely difficult to deal with. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like this one here is kind of weird, and you have to have the right situation in order to play that tile, as opposed to, let's say, maybe this cross. That's awesome. You get one of those, you're going to fight for those. I mean, there's only 2 of you, and this opens paths in every direction, so you're going to want that kind of thing. This kind of thing, you're really going to have to think hard where you're going to put that if you happen to get stuck with that tile, because you may not want it, but your opponent may not want it either, and so you're really trying to throw the event in order to make your opponent take that tile. But those are the kinds of things you're going to deal with on this player board, and you're going to build that route and try to get to these sacred relics and turn them over. Now, they all have a point value on them, and also on these sacred relics, there's 3 of these red ones that are worth 6 points. Hey, if you turn over 2 of them, that's good, that's 12 points. But if you turn over the 3rd one, you've lost the game, just like that.
Automatic lose.
Yeah, you lost, just like that. If you turn over that 3rd tile. So what you're going to want to do is, in these cards, again, it goes back to that hand management. Oh, how lucky is that? I pulled that right. Yeah. You're going to want this card that has these sacred tile shapes at the bottom and with eyes on them, and that means you can look at 2 of those, and you can look at your opponent's or you can look at yours, and so that helps you in your network and route building on your board. So you want to know where those cursed relics are at on your player board if you can. I mean, if you're building a network and you just haven't taken the time to look at them, as long as you don't have them turned up, a bunch of, if you don't have 2 of them turned up, you're fine. But as soon as you turn the 2nd one up, and you better find out where the other one's at before you go turning over tiles, because you lose immediately if you turn that up. So there's just enough in this game, guys, is what I'm telling you. It's a wonderful game. Bruno Cathala is one of my favorite board game designers. I would say, Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer and Kiesling are probably my favorites. And gosh, I think Bruno Cathala might be second, with maybe Feld and coming in third there because his games are a little heavier. But I love Rune of Cathala's game designs, and we have several. We have Ishtar, which I love. He did that with Evan Singh. We have Yamatai, did with Mark Paquin. We love that game. We had 5 tribes, and we liked it a lot. We liked it a lot, but we don't have that one anymore. And we have Orichalcum, which is his new game from 22. And if you haven't played Orichalcum, that is a magnificent event. It's so much fun. But that's his level of complexity that we really enjoy. So yeah, this game is awesome, man. And again, we went to a convention. Somebody was selling the game, and I don't know how difficult this game is to get a hold of. I don't even know.
I don't either.
Really. But these fate sticks are cool. Man, these are nice dice fate sticks, and it's fun rolling them. I mean, you actually feel like you're, the fate, they're properly named, fate sticks, because you roll those things and you're going to take a look at them, and the Nagas, when you roll those, you're going to be able to use a Naga to play one of your cards. So you have to determine when you pick out what cards you're going to play, of what sticks you want, what fate sticks you want. You're going to have to look at your cards and say, well, I've got, like 4 or 5 cards in my hand. I would like to play a couple of these. I have one that's going to place that trap, but I have to get a Naga rolled in order to do that. Well, the Naga is only on one side on the white fate sticks, and it's on 2 sides on the green. So if you want really desperate to roll a Naga, you want a card that's going to give you a few green sticks when you play it. But then when you play this card, you say, oh, well, I don't want to play that for my green sticks. It's got this at the bottom I want to use. So those are the decisions you're going to make. Again, it's hand management. It's the biggest part of the game. And in order to do that well, you have to understand what all the cards do. And they're not hard to understand. But you just have to get used to it. That's all. Get used to what they do. And it makes the game so much fun. We really liked it. And we played it, like I say, 4 times. And once was at a convention, and 3 times just now, and we really reinforced how much we like.
And the scores were pretty close.
Yeah, scores.
One of the games was a little more than the other, but the other 2 were within 2 points.
It reminds me of Orichalcum in that regard, because Orichalcum 5 points wins the game, and I guarantee you, when you in this game or in Orichalcum, when you make your play and break the threshold and win the game, the other player was just about to do it. They were going to do it on their next turn.
Well, the last game, whichever one of us got that tile won the game.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Yeah, that's the way this game works.
We were that close.
So you're working so hard, and I was panicked when we were like 6 turns in the game. I hadn't scored a point. I didn't have any of these sacred tiles turned over. I didn't have any amulets. I had no points. I was really sweating bullets, but I was able to get lucky and win, and there is a certain amount of luck because you're using these fate sticks. So if that bothers you,
I had bad card draws right at the end.
Yeah,
I only had 1 of each card. I could only play 1 card. I didn't have enough sticks to roll to even come close to taking the tile.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're juggling and trying to get that balance, because you're spending cards. But you don't want to spend cards, because you want to have a hand of cards to give you choices of things to do or fate sticks to roll. But then if one of these great tiles, like this, I think it was this tile. Yeah, when this cross tile came up, we both wanted it very bad. I mean, and you're going to. And so we both went for broke. I think we both played 3 cards and getting as many fate sticks as we could. And Lori beat me. I was so mad at her. But she got the tile, and that's the way this game works.
Yes, but I have 2 X tiles on my board, and you beat me.
Yeah.
By 2 points, but you beat me.
Yeah. The games are very close, and it's just a fun time, because it's unique. Let's face it, these fate sticks are kind of unique.
It's
I don't know.
fun rolling them.
Yeah, it's fun rolling them, and you feel like you're in some kind of romancing the stone type of situation with Naga Raja, and I really love that. We really enjoyed this game. I'm glad we picked it up for a very inexpensive price.
It was $20. I looked it up.
$20. And it's worth that. Lori and I will play. Again, 2-player only, you guys. If you have that type of situation where you're playing with just one person most of the time, this is just a tremendous game to be able to dig into. Very small rule book, easy to understand, but again, you have to familiarize yourself with how the game works. Don't give up on it. If you have the opportunity to pick this up, read the game rules, and if you need to, watch a playthrough, but understand, and you get this huge deck of cards. I mean, and understand what they all do.
Well, and it took you a little bit to figure out the paths.
Yeah, and figuring out your path and how that works, it takes a while. Some of the things these cards do, that gives you +2 pips. when you're trying to, you might be just tied or something when you're going for a tile you really want, and you roll a Naga, and you're going to use it to add +2 pips. I showed you that before. That's view 2 tiles. This is, the arrow's going up, so you're going to use that on your opponent, and it gets rid of 2 of their sticks. Now this card also has 2 brown fate sticks at the top, so you're going to give those up. If you play this with a Naga, that's going to go in the discard pile, and your next turn, of course, you're not going to be able to roll that. And if one of those nice tiles comes up that you absolutely want to have, those are the brown sticks, the ones called pips, and you just gave that up. So those are decisions that you're going to make in this game. This is switching 2 tiles on your player board, different places. This is switching 2 tiles on your opponent's player board because it's got the red arrows pointing up. This is +3 pips. There's a +4 pip. You can take a card from the discard pile. That can come very handy. Because we talked about that trap tile.
Got done.
I'm glad I mentioned that because I put this trap tile on Lori's board, and once you have that on your board, you need to get rid of it. So you want to go through the discard pile because your opponent played it to put it there, and you want to go. If you get that card that lets you take a card from the discard pile, you want to dig through there and find this card. And then you can play this card if you get a Naga and remove that from your board, put it on your opponents and mess them up. And of course, they're going to try to get it back. It's like Old Maid. I told Lori, it's like Old Maid. If you've ever played Old Maid back in the day, a very simple card game where you don't want to get stuck with the Old Maid. That's the same here. And then you have card. This card will let you rotate a tile, and that's pretty cool. And you can do it again. This one is against your opponent. So if you rotate one of their tiles and they've got a path to one of their sacred relics, and then you rotate that tile and the path no longer goes to that sacred relic, they have to turn that over. So stuff like that goes on in this game, and it's really, really cool. I mean, there's a +3 pips. Take one. That one is
move a tile to any empty space, not following the placement rules.
You can move a tile to any space. That's pretty cool. That's take a card from your opponent and put it in the discard pile, and that really hurts you.
Yeah, that was fine. Thank you.
That was fun. I mean, this game is really cool. +2 cards. You can draw 2 cards if you use your Naga. But again, you're making a decision. Well, yeah, I want those 2 cards, and I need them. But next turn, I would like to use those 2 white sticks and that green fate stick to make happen. But you're going to have to make that choice. Tough choices. This is, again, switch 2 places. This is on your opponent's board. You can switch 2 of their relics, so you can actually put a relic where it doesn't have a path and take their points away from them, and that's pretty cool. This is make your opponent re-roll 2 of their fate sticks if they, if you don't have any plus pips cards in your arsenal, and you have a Naga and they're just beating you by 1 pip. Make them re-roll 2 of their sticks, and maybe you can get lucky. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of cool stuff. A big deck of cards that you get to use to play this game, and it's just, once you learn it, it's just a very fun, thinky puzzle as you're trying to build that network through this board. I wish I could show you guys this. Yeah, it's like any other route building network situation that you games that you have to build, and in order to turn over those amulets and the sacred relics that are on the outskirts of you have to have a path that goes from these bottom 3 starting paths up to that tile in order to turn it over and get those points. So that's really, really a fun design by Bruno Cathala and Theo Rivere. And then again, the art's by Vincent Dutray, which is always good. And yeah, it was a fun time. I mean, I had a good time playing it. It's a great game. What do you think?
Well, I really liked it. I mean, it's a little bit mean, but any 2-player game is going to be mean. It's head-to-head. You're playing head-to-head. It's going to be a little bit of a mean game.
I mean, somebody throws that trap tile on your board and you go, ah! And immediately you're trying to get that card that gets you back into that. I wasn't
smart enough to think of that till after the game was over. I could have taken that off my board.
You want to get back into that discard deck, and you want to find that card. There's a card that lets you take a card out of the discard pile, and you want to get in there as quick as you can, get that card back, roll a Naga, and use your Naga to put that on their board, and they get to scream, ah! Because it's messing with you. And the threshold, again, is 25 points, and you can just affect that not only on your play area, but on your opponents.
So we were close to the end of the game, though, so if I placed the trap, I might have filled your board.
Yeah.
and filling the board stops the game, and then just high points wins. So I don't know if that would have...
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that.
I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, once you fill this board, the game ends immediately and the player with the most points wins. So there's a couple of different ways you can win there. But yeah, this is a fun game. And again, it's very thematic, and just because of the theme and these fate sticks, and again, the art on the cards is wonderful. Yeah, we played this game when it first came out. I think we played it in 2019 when it first came out at a convention. And
but we only played it once.
Played it one time, and you can't do that with this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we weren't sure.
Yeah. So we were like, I don't know. I mean, we played it one time, and we're like, I don't know how I feel about it. And you'll do that with games that are good. A game that's good is going to take more than one play. Sometimes. You know, most of the time it takes more than one play. Like, I played Orichalcum, and I knew right away I was in love with it. And things like that. But this game takes more than one play. And in 2019, when we played this, we just wrote it off, kind of, I guess, for a while. And then I forget what happened, what even put it back in my mind. But then when we were going to the last convention, it was on the virtual flea market, and I said, hey, that's Bruno Cathala. I think that's what it did.
Yeah.
I figured out, hey, you know what? In 2019, I didn't know that it was his game.
Yeah, and we didn't know much about him then.
Yeah, I didn't know that much
about him.
But then, after I found out it was him, I said, let's play that again and take a look at it. But we didn't even do that. When I found out it was him, I saw it on the VFM, I said, you know what? I can remember our playthrough of it. Let's get it. I'll look at it. I did. I looked at it on a video on YouTube. I said, yeah, let's get it. And play it some more and see what we think. And I really like it. Good two-player only games are not, you know, there are not very many of them. This is fabulous. And again, if you're in a situation where you're playing with just one person all the time, which we are. We play 95% of our plays are with each other. And so two-player experiences is what's important to us. And this is fine and wonderful, and we really enjoyed it. I just want to tell you about it. I know I don't tell you about all the sucky games that I play. I just make videos about games I like. So here we go. That was Naga Raja by Bruno Cathala and Theo Revere. Thank you, you guys, Bruno and Theo, for a wonderful game. Thank you, Vincent Dutrait, for wonderful art. And thank you, Hurricane Games. Thank you for a nice publishing job, and Lori and I will enjoy this for years to come. Make sure you please like, it helps us out so much. And if you have friends, please ask them to subscribe if they're interested in senior citizen games, because that's what we are, and that's what we like to play. So we'll talk to you next time on The Bones Collector. I love every one of you. Keep on board game, best hobby on the planet. Bye! Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector, and tonight, Lori and I tonight, it's like afternoon. But for us, I guess it's tonight.
It's 7 o'clock. Yeah. That's tonight.
But we just got done playing Tobago by Bruce Allen. Tobago was a game that came out in 2009, so it's got some age on it, like me. And it's for 2 to 4 players. It's a deduction, grid movement, hand management, and push your luck game. And the winning condition are the most treasure cards, most coins on these treasure cards. So whoever has the most coins at the end of the game is going to be the winner. Let's look at the box. It's, you know, your regular everyday box. It came out in 2009. But I tell you what, it has a really nice insert in it that holds everything. It's a modular board, and so the modular pieces go here, and then the clamps, they're called. These clamp pieces that you see here would go right here, and then all the little ingredients would go in there underneath all that. And that's a pretty nice insert. I mean, everything fits in there really nice. And then the cards themselves, just regular card stock, not as thin as, you know, to be awful, but just regular card stock for the 2 decks of cards, the coins, and the clue cards. The amulet tokens are regular thick cardboard tokens. The statues are very nice. And again, there's place for all of this in the box, and that's really nice. And then your palm trees are chunky wooden pieces, and your huts are chunky wooden pieces, so that's kind of cool. What is it?
And our Jeeps.
Well, yeah, and our ATV Jeeps are chunky, wood, made out of wood. And then these location indicator cubes are just regular square cubes that you find in any board game. And then you have these compass roses that are just small, and they're cardboard tokens. So that's what makes up this game. The board itself is very nice. It is the board is a linen board. That's pretty nice. That's pretty sharp. And it's 2-sided, so you can mix and match the sides. One side has small letters on it, ABC. The other side has capital letters on it, ABC, and you can mix and match those things to make the board different each time you play, and that's pretty nice. To begin this game, you have these clue cards, this deck of clue cards. Each player will get 6 of these. I'm not going to deal them out, but each player gets 6. But you put 1 on 2 of these indicator. This is your treasure maps. These cubes, these indicator cubes are treasure maps, and you're going to start out the game by placing 1 card on 2 of those treasure maps, and then you place those location indicator cubes on the board. For instance, and I chose some easy ones just so I could do the example. But this particular clue card says that the treasure is located on the largest lake. So that would be this largest lake in the middle of the board here, and it's the white treasure map, so I'm putting white cubes on here. And so that's how you would start out the game for white, by placing those white cubes on that large lake. And just like that for this next card, because it says it's located on the largest mountain range. So that would be these black cubes. So that treasure map is going to go look like this. And that's the way the game would start out with these 2 cards. And again, I just chose easy ones so that you'd be able to see how this works a little bit. And then each one of these clue cards are kind of cool because it's got a compass on it and it looks like a piece of a map. And that's really what you're doing, because you're going to have 6 of these in your hand, and you're going to decide where you want to place those to benefit yourself. You're going to try to figure out where to place these clue cards to give yourself the most opportunity for gold coins. Now, in this coin deck, these values go from 2 to 6. There's a 2. And there's also 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then in this deck, you're going to place these 2 curse cards someplace. And it's going to be below the first 12 cards. I think it's the rules are that it has to start after the top 12 cards. Then you place these in that bottom half of the deck, and you're going to shuffle those thoroughly, and with the curse cards in there. And when one of those curse cards comes up, you're going to get penalized during that particular treasure dig. So that's kind of interesting too. And you know they're in there. And then once they're gone, you know the rest of the deck is clean. So that's kind of nice too. So in this game, you're going to try to whittle this down. That's the deduction part of it. And the way you do that is by taking your clue cards and trying to dwindle the number of cubes in that treasure map, so that it's going to get smaller and smaller, and you're going to try to eliminate some of those cubes on that map in order to isolate exactly where that treasure is. Then you want to drive your ATV, at the beginning of the game, each player will place their ATV wherever you want. And there's specific setup rules for where the statues and the trees and huts go. I'm not going to get into that, but you can't put them next to each other, so you just have to read the rules for that. But this ATV, then you're going to drive to wherever that treasure is, and it's called raising the treasure. Once you get on that space, you're going to be able to raise the treasure. Once those treasures gets risen, then you're going to divide up these coin cards depending on how many compass roses you have in that particular map. If you have 3 cards in this black map right here, like my yellow, I have my yellow compasses on here, and maybe Lori would have, let's say Lori would have 2 that look like this, and she'd have her compasses on there like that. And you want to get in on this. You don't want to have one of these treasure maps without your compasses on them, because that means you wouldn't get any of the treasure. You want some of that booty. So you want to be able to get your compasses over here. Now whoever raises that treasure gets to put their last compass at the bottom of that row, and then these cards are divvied out. So in this particular instance, I have 4 of my compasses there. Lori has 2. So I would take 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. Lori would take 2. Then we take an extra one from the deck, and the deck would go back in place. Now Lori gets to look at her 2, I get to look at my 4, and that gives you a little bit of an idea about what's in the deck. And then we'd mix in the 1 extra card in here, and we shuffle that deck up like this. So you don't know what order those cards are in there. You just know what some of them are, but you don't know the order. And then you would simply take these compasses one at a time. You turn these cards over, and the first player, which would be the yellow player, I would have to decide, do I want that 4 coin card or do I want to pass? And that's the push your luck part, because further into the game, one of you might have seen that there's a curse card in this particular map, and that's a pain in the butt, man, because if that curse card comes out, wherever it comes out, you lose the rest of those treasures, and you have to give up your highest treasure card out of your booty that you've already gathered. Now it's painful, man, but that's the way the game's played. And then whoever raised the treasure is going to keep turning these cards over. I would take this 4 card, because that's a nice card, and then we'd go to the next compass rose, that would be green, and I would turn over this 2. Now Lori might look at that, and she knows a couple of other cards that are in this deck, because remember she got to look at 2. Maybe there was a 6 and a 5 in there. She's like, I'm just gonna pass on that 2. I don't want it. So she would pass, and then I would have to decide. I'm the next compass, so I would have to decide, do I want to pass or do I want to take this card? And that's the way this is going to go, and you're going to keep continually flip these over. There's a 5, and since she passed on a 2, she would definitely take that 5. And then the next card I would turn over is a 2, and I might say, you know what, no, pass. And then she would have to decide, do I want to take that? There's only 3 cards left, and we know some of what's in there, and some of it she doesn't know, so does she want to pass? And those are decisions you're going to make, and that treasure deck, or that treasure, is going to be delved out like that for this particular map, and that's the way this game works. Now you have to remember all the time that once you raise a treasure, these statues are facing a certain direction. You put out these amulets, and these amulets, once they're on the board, you put one there after each treasure is raised, one there, and in this case one there, and then you would move these statues like that to the right, clockwise 1 space, like that. I think so, right? Clockwise 1 space?
Clockwise 1 space, yes.
1 space. And then the next time a treasure is raised, then those squares would be receiving an amulet.
No, the amulets,
they go clear to the end of the
clear
coast.
to the end of the coast. You're right. Yes.
So I'm right, right?
Yes.
And then the amulet would go clear on this space next time, and would go on this space next time, and this space next time a treasure is raised. And then also, these amulets give you special power. They give you special movement power, and they give you the opportunity to take a cube off the board. And so they really come in handy, especially at the end of the game, when you can see how things are playing out, and you might want to end the game quickly. So those amulets can help you do that, get you moved to where a treasure can be located and eliminated and raised, and you have a lot of compasses on that map. Then you might want to get there quicker, and using those amulets are very valuable to do so. And then what they also you can use them to trash your hand if you want to, and during your regular turn you can trash your hand. If you're 6 cards, if you look at them and you're like, oh, none of these are any good for any of those maps, I'm just going to use my turn, discard my hand, and take 6 more cards. You know, you can do that anyways, but that's your turn. If you use the amulet, it doesn't count as your turn, but you can still get 6 new cards. And that is it. This game is different. It's different, and that's why I really, really like it, because of the deduction part of it. I'm not a fan of deduction games, for the most part. I do have a couple. We have Skull. Isn't that kind of a deduction?
Sort of, but it's also a party game.
And we have, yeah, it's a party game, and well, most deduction games are party games.
We have Mr. Jack.
Yeah, we have Mr. Jack, yeah, and those are deduction games. But I don't like some of the detective games and the Sherlock Holmes games and stuff like that. This is really neat because it's just a regular board game, and you're looking for treasure on this island, and that's pretty cool. I really enjoy that as you try to decide not only which card you want to play to eliminate some of the map and get that isolated to where the treasure is, but you also have to decide which map you want to affect, because you're watching the other players, seeing what kind of money coin cards that they have. There's a lot to think about in this game when you're doing it, and it can feel a little bit chessy, a little bit tactical, but that's the type of game that this is. But it does something different. That's why I like it so much. It's really, really an enjoyable game because it does something that's so different. I have nothing like this in my library whatsoever. It's the only game that really is like this, and I enjoy it. We played this at a convention a few years ago, and I knew immediately that we liked it, so we kept an eye out for it, but the copies were pretty expensive. But Board Game Bliss, I believe is the name of the place in Canada, has some copies. We checked with them probably 3 or 4 weeks ago.
And we were looking for something else.
Project L. They had a copy of Project L, which we were looking for, which is an abstract strategy game, which is wonderful. and I'll talk about that eventually on our videos. But they had I forget how many copies of this. I don't know if they still have any up there at Board Game Glyphs of Tobago, and we've been looking for it for quite a while, and we paid regular retail, and that's what we like to do. You know, I mean, if we play regular retail, that's on the high end of what we like to pay.
Yeah.
But they had some copies, and we were very fortunate to get them. So yeah, so it's a very, very nice game, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. And if I seem a little subdued, we have a sick kitty, and I don't know if you watch our videos, you saw our gray and white cat Duchess that used to walk around the videos. And last December, a little bit before Christmas, we found out she had bone marrow cancer, and we had to put her to sleep. So that kind of put a damper on our holidays for sure. And then a few weeks after that, we got this little kitty that was found in the Dollar General parking lot. And you've seen him, Toothless. We named him. He's all black, and he's had some problems again because he was feral, and he had what was that called, Giardia? So,
Giardia.
Giardia. It's kind of a stomach. Not a virus.
It's a parasite.
So we had to give him medication to get rid of that. And he was taking antibiotics for his fever. And then now we found out one of his eyes was getting cloudy, and he's got feline herpes. So we've been giving him medicine for that, and then now he's having trouble walking. So we're kind of stressed out about that a little bit. He's just a little fella. He's only
doesn't weigh 5 pounds yet.
He's just a little guy, 4 pounds and 8 ounces or something, and he's a wonderful kitten. He's super kind and just loving, and we really adore him. We've had him for 3 months now, or
yeah. January, February, March. Yeah, a little over 3 months.
But he's struggling pretty bad, and we're going to go see the vet tomorrow and see what we can come up with for a plan of care for him. But yeah, it's kind of yeah.
Takes the wind out of your sails a little bit.
Yeah, we've been working with him so diligently, trying to help him get better, and just to see one thing after another, and it isn't fair to him. He's a wonderful kitten and doesn't deserve or didn't ask for any of this. But yeah, so I'm a little bit subdued about that. But hey, I want to tell you about Tobago because it is a wonderful game. You can buy this game with confidence that it plays well, and I wanted to tell you about it. And I wanted you, if you don't get the opportunity to play it at a convention, at least watch it played on YouTube. There's plenty of videos of people playing this game. But if you like deduction, if you like deduction, and I generally don't, but Lori wanted me to try this game, so we did at the convention, and I liked it. And I said, hey, that was fun. I enjoyed that. There's a lot of thinking that goes on in where and when you want to play these clue cards of yours to get as many of these opportunities for these buried treasure cards as you can get, and then just moving around the board as efficiently as possible. Sometimes you can raise 2 treasures on a turn. There's things that happen that you can combo some things and really help yourself out in this game. But it's a lot of fun. I really like this game, again, because it's different than anything that we have in our library. And I like that. I like it when people can come up with an idea that just isn't overused. How many worker placement games are there? Oh, let me see. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, this deduction board game thing, it's really, really nice. And that is Tobago. Again, came out in 2009, so it's kind of an older, and I imagine this is kind of a second print run or something that these people did. But yeah, nice linen box, but not very thick. Thick enough for this game. It's not all that heavy. The pieces are very nice in it. I can't say enough about it. In my top 100 of all time, and that hopefully I'll get started on those videos pretty soon. So yeah, Tobago. I'll see you guys next time on The Bones Collector. Make sure you please take the time and hit the like button for us. That really helps us out. And I love every one of you. Have a great evening. Please keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet. Bye-bye.